Hey everybody, Pastor John David here, and I'm excited to welcome you back to the Digital Campus. We're starting a new conversation this week entitled Digitally Derailed. I'm excited for you to see this skit that's going to lead into a wonderful conversation with Pastor Kim and Susie. I hope you enjoy.
She's at it again. Beth just bought a house, and it's literally 2 times the size as ours. Did you see what Beth posted this morning? She's on here bragging and showing off her shiny new award for most brilliant woman in Oregon.
You okay?
Oh my gosh! Beth just hired a new manservant. Hashtag God is good. He's gonna be doing the cooking and the cleaning. And he's gonna clean the new pool. Ugh, I think I'm gonna be sick. Beth just posted a selfie with Lil Wayne? I mean, how does she even know these famous people? How does she even get a photo with them?
I think we all struggle with finding comparison, especially right now in this social media age. It's just like, I think I see everyone is always on their phone, always scrolling. And I think we like log in and we say, oh, we just want to see what people are up to. We'll like look at the stories. And the longer that we're looking at these stories, it's almost like we don't really care what people are doing. It just makes us feel bad about ourselves. And then we'll want to post so people think we have interesting lives as well. And it's kind of like this drug. We think it's going to fix us if we go and connect with our friends on social media, but it's actually like hurting us.
Yep, it's true. I know that I can personally relate to to this so much in my own life. I don't know about you, but there's oftentimes more days than I'd like to admit. I'm having a great day. I am feeling thankful for my family. I'm feeling thankful for my life. The sun is shining, and then I get on social media. I'm like, oh, I'll just post a story or something to share, how great my day is going or how thankful I am. And then all of a sudden I get distracted. I'm like, oh, I'll just look at this person's story. And you know how it goes. Mm-hmm. Then you end up scrolling, and it's like an hour later. And then by the time I get off, I am not feeling great anymore. I'm feeling discouraged often. I get into the comparison, and it just doesn't end well.
Recently, we had Mother's Day, and it's like you take a really cute family picture for Mother's Day, and then like 5 minutes later, you're like, okay, did anybody like it? Okay, oh, comment, what do I do with the comment? Oh, I need to like their comment so more people can see it. And it's this like dangerous road you get on, because it's almost like we're finding our self-worth with how many people are liking a picture, and then or someone else posts a picture. It's like, wait, my picture was better, or like, do I comment on theirs? And then it's like an hour later, you're like, I just did not accomplish anything. Yeah. I feel bad about myself. Mm-hmm. I just wasted an hour of time, and
it's true.
It's just kind of a downward spiral.
It's true. And there's actually been studies done, and it shows that the longer that you are active or spending time on Facebook, the walking away from that, you actually feel worse. You're negative. I know, it's shocking, right? Like your mood actually is more negative. You're not feeling great. It's not an uplifting thing, but yet we do it over and over again. We repeat the same pattern and the same actions day after day, literally multiple times a day. Why do we do it?
Yeah, it's so hard. And it's funny because like when the Bible was written, obviously we didn't have social media. We didn't have these digital things that like these computers that we are constantly walking around with. But I think God in his wisdom put some scriptures in the Bible to help us with this when we face it in today's world. Yeah. And Galatians 6:4 is a really good scripture about that. And it says, pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done, and you won't need to compare yourself with anyone anymore. So you don't have to compare yourself, because God's given you different abilities, and you can be satisfied with what you have and what the talents and gifts that God's given you.
Yeah.
And I think it helps us to pay attention to our own lives. And sometimes the best thing to do is to put your phone on silent and walk away. Leave it alone. A few days ago, I realized I left my phone at home, and I was out, and I was like, oh, well, this is going to be life without my phone. And it was kind of freeing, because I could focus like at the park with my kids. I wasn't constantly like, oh, I need to take a picture of this. Okay, look cute. Like, let's set this up. I was paying attention and being like in my own reality, and not scrolling to see like, oh, who else is at the park, or what are my friends doing. And so I think it does help to just pay more attention to your own life and be intentional. A few years ago, when my word for the year was like be present, and I have that still by my bed every day, just to be present with who you're with right now, and kind of not worry about everyone else and what they're doing. Just be present in the moment, and that helps like be okay with your life and what you're doing, and not necessarily worrying about what everyone else is doing at that time.
It's such a distraction. Something that I think about, okay, let's take this for example, right? Let's think about Michael Jordan. Some of you are going to be really impressed that I'm talking about sports right now. But let's think about him, for example, a legend, right? But can you imagine if he spent his life and prior to his career, just like scrolling and looking at everyone else's highlight reels, and looking at these other basketball players and looking at what they were doing and looking at their following and comparing himself, like they have a bigger following, their skill is better than mine is right now, they're getting more likes on their photos. Imagine if he spent his time doing that rather than practicing and getting better, and he allowed that to stop him. He allowed the envy, he allowed the comparison to stop him, to discourage him from moving forward. We wouldn't know him to be who he is today, right?
Yeah, and I think like, okay, so who right now is missing out?
Yeah.
Because they're so focused on other people and the comparison and the envy, and oh, I wish I had that, or you know, that basketball says Wilson on it, so it must be better, so I better switch to that one. Or now even like, this is kind of off topic, but even on my Facebook, like we'll be talking about basketball right now, and all of a sudden all of the things regarding basketball and practicing is going to pop up, and it just another thing you like. So it's not only are you spending your time and your money thinking about things, but then it comes to your money, and like outside of social media, then it's like, okay, well, I have to have this because this is the next best thing. And these are what, you know, the influencers are saying I need to do.
Well, and doesn't it hold us back from our potential? Like that's what I see in the comparison that happens via social media. Whatever it is, there's so many different types, or so many different apps in social media platforms today. So whatever your choice is, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, there's just so many sources of comparison. There's so many opportunities to compare, to be jealous, to, you know, whatever. And it actually holds us back from the potential when we compare ourselves and when we strive to be like somebody else, or try to make our lives look more similar to somebody else, or just like stop being present, like you were saying. It holds us back. And I love that thought of like, who could we be if we weren't spending this time and allowing this to hold us back? I mean, how could it change our lives?
Yeah, and I think we always have to remember that everyone's social media is their highlight reel. It's not like their every day, every moment. And you actually posted about that this week of like, these are my highlights, but you should see the in-between. And I think if we were really honest with ourselves and with others of the in-between, because we do just want to post the good things,
Right.
and we have to remember that's what we're seeing in
Yeah.
other people, and so we
Yeah.
can't comparing ourselves is just, it's not fair to
Yeah.
ourselves, because that's not their everyday life, and
It's true.
it's hard, because I even think as women, it's very natural for us to automatically compare. Like, even if we're in the mall or at the grocery store doing day-to-day life,
Yeah.
those are easy comparisons to
Yeah.
make. But so on the digital world, in the digital life,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
enhanced, and then
Constant.
there's
It's
filters,
like-
and then there's backgrounds, and there's all these things.
Can we talk about filters for a minute?
Yes.
Especially if you're a woman, you are probably familiar. There are literally filters that alter your face. I've tried some of them out to, see what's gonna make me look a little better when I'm not ready for the day or whatever. And they're adding eyelashes for me. They're making my lips bigger. They're making my face look slimmer. All these things that literally alter your face. And it is social media can easily become a source of false reality, but we approach it and view it as if it is reality. So we really, it's dangerous. It can be dangerous, and we have to remember these are highlight reels, and oftentimes we're looking at somebody's, what they want to share of their reality, but it's not the whole picture.
Yeah, and I think to remember that, and to not get into this envious or comparison, or even coveting what other people have, or what we assume they have, or we
Sure.
assume their lifestyle is like this.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's very dangerous. A tool that could be used for good
Yeah.
can turn really into harm,
Yeah.
kind of without thinking about it.
Well, and let's talk about that. How can social media be used as a tool for good? Because it's not all bad, right? There is a potential, there is an in-between for it to be a positive, life-giving, good thing in our lives.
Yeah, I know for me, working at the church and being a part of our social media team, I'm constantly posting information about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm giving information to people, and so that's a great way of helping people know what's going on at the church, how they can be more involved, be engaged through our digital campus,
Yeah, and with that said, I think rather than thinking about the digital realm as a place to be served or come and get recognition and get the likes and get the self-gratification that honestly we all enjoy, if we're being honest, right? Rather than taking that approach, I think that it could be so impactful if we took this approach of going and having social media, approaching it as a place to serve, to love other people. And it makes me think of a scripture that I'm going to share. Matthew 20:28, it says, "Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." How powerful. This is something the Lord reminds me of frequently, because it's easy just in life in general to get into that mindset of I'm at a restaurant, I'm at a coffee shop, I'm at, wherever, and this is bad customer service, and assessing, being critical, and it's easy to get into that mindset of just everyone is here to serve me, and it's, terrible when you say it out loud, but it's a reality that I fall into, and it's something that, a mindset that I fall into too frequently. But if we took that approach of, again, going to social media and being hey, how can I love people today? How can I share love? How can I show love? How can I serve the people who are going to see whatever I post? How can I comment and leave love, on their post and things like that? I think that it could honestly change everything.
Yeah, I think changing our mindset
Yeah.
of instead of how many people are going to post on my story or how
Yeah.
many people are going to like my photo or tell me, such and such about my post. If that's like not even in our mindset, it's like how many people can I go and search out and say like happy birthday
Yeah.
or just like their picture or say and then like just a really nice comment about
Yeah.
something that they posted. Obviously, we don't want it just to be flattery and just words. We want to have it to be, mean it. But I think that's such a
Absolutely.
great change of mindset.
Yeah.
So it's not social media serving us, but we are serving others and by uplifting
Yeah.
them, just like, we would on a day-to-day basis of when we see our friends, just
Yeah.
talking to them and encouraging them. I think that's
Yeah.
a great change of mindset.
Yeah.
And I think it could still be a great tool for
Yeah.
encouragement because they're going to receive that encouragement. And I mean, yeah, I think it's good as long
Yeah.
as they don't find their status and their
Yes.
identity in our likes and our comments as well. But I
Right.
do think changing that where it's for us personally, not finding all of our self-worth in what
Yeah.
other people think and not comparing ourselves to other people, I think.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is that the majority of people of all ages, young to old, have social media. So if they're there, and I think a lot of people have it in common, we spend a considerable amount of time on social media every day. The people are there, we're there, like let's use it for good, let's make an impact for good, for the Lord. Let's share positivity, let's speak truth, let's love other people. And truly, I think that it could make one of the biggest impacts in the world
Yeah.
if we start to do that and change our approach.
Yeah, and that we love people. We don't necessarily try to get in weird arguments because an argument on social media never turns out.
It never goes well.
It
Why
never
do we
goes
do
well.
it? I don't
And
know.
so I think if we, just speak love and maybe
Yeah.
ignore those things that could be controversial or like bring
Sure.
weirdness, but
Yeah.
just share love and God's love and uplift people and pray for people who you can obviously tell are going through a hard time.
Yeah.
And, I think you're absolutely right. It would be a great thing to change our perspective of social media, not necessarily
Yeah.
always a comparison game or a negative thing, but something that we can do to share God's love and
Yeah.
be a light to others.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was such a fun conversation to have and
absolutely.
something I'm actually really passionate about. You can ask John David, he can attest to how often we talk about the digital realm and social media in our home. But this was fun. Thank you for joining us. And if you would like to join us for further conversation, join us in the digital lobby and we would love to talk some more.